5y squared minus 17y plus 6. Okay? Alright, so how many ways are there to get 5y squared, guys? There are two, which is what, Aaron?
-1 and 5 and 1 and -5.
For 5y squared? Positive 5?
Oh. Never mind.
Yeah, so for positive 5y squared, there's only one way, right? Which is what, class? 1y and 5y. Do I need to try negative 1y and negative 5y? No, because remember I told you, as we're choosing these, right? We're looking at all the possible ways for one of them to be negative, the other to be positive. So you don't have to worry about that for the first number. Does that make sense? Do you all understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. Okay, so you don't have to try negative 1y and negative 5y. Don't worry about that one for now. Later we'll discuss a little more. But for now, you don't have to worry about the first number. Plus plus. And how many ways are there to get 6? 2. Okay, 1, 6. What else? 2 and 3. But you gotta remember to try what? Negative 1, negative 6, negative 2. What? Negative 3. Does that make sense? So, am I going to try 4 different ways, or am I really trying 8 different ways? 8, because I have to try the other way, right? Other order. Okay, so what goes in here? Let's think about this. Does 1 and 6 work? Actually, I like to. Can I put 5y up here? Do you mind if I do that? I like to have the bigger number up here. Doesn't really matter, right? Okay, so does 1 and 6 work? Let's see. By the way, do I even need to try 1, 6, and 2, 3? At this point, I claim to you I could get rid of these. Why? How come I could get rid? I don't even have to try like the other order. How come I could just get rid of those? William?
Because you have to get a negative for the middle term.
Yeah, in order to get negative 17y, if these both numbers here are both positive, is there any way to get the negative number in the middle? No way. So I could get rid of those. Now, then all I have to try is this 4-way, right? Negative 1, negative 6, negative 6, negative 1, and so forth. You know what I'm talking about? So let's try negative 1, negative 6. Does this work? We get, what's 5y times negative? So remember this? This gives you the middle term. What, does that work? No, that's too big, isn't it? That's too big of a negative number. You get what? What's 5 times negative 6? Negative 30, you get the other one, y. So that doesn't work. Okay, so should I get rid of it? Can I get rid of this 1, negative 1 now? I mean, negative 1, negative 6 right now? No, you have to also try negative 6 and negative 1. You got to try the other order, right? So what's this? Does this work? No, still you get 5y, negative 5y, negative 6y. That doesn't give you negative 17y, does it? So we could get rid of that one. Is that okay? What should we try next? Negative 2 and negative 3. Does this work? Oh, this time it works. Okay? So let's double check. 5y times 5y here is, of course, 5y squared. Plus here, negative 15y. Plus negative 2y. Plus, what's that? 6. That checks. That checks. What's negative 15y plus negative 2y, class? Negative 17y. That checks. We got it. Okay? What's the answer then? Claire? What do I write as my answer?
5y minus 2 parentheses times y minus 3.
Good. And we just checked this, so that's the answer. Pretty straightforward. You see how we're kind of getting faster a little bit. Yeah.
For all coefficients of x squared, are they going to be prime numbers?
That's a very good question. Do you see what do you see the question? This is like 5, right? So what if this is not a prime number? What if this number is like 10, or you know what I mean? Would it always be 5 like this? Victor says no. Yeah, they're right. And I'm going to teach you how to do those. Don't worry about it, Paul. We'll get there. You're right. It's not always going to be this straightforward, but I'm going to start with the one that's easiest. Does that make sense? You're right. If I have number other than that's not prime, like 10 or 100 or something, you know, you gotta do something else. Okay, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. Okay, so example 3. Let's try example 3. I think you could do this yourself this time. Why don't you try this yourself? 3 x squared minus 8x minus 35. Let me give you some time for you to try on your own. Go ahead, everybody. Try this. Look at the previous two examples. It's the same exact thing now. Okay. Everybody try it yourself. So let's look at this together. Even if you didn't get it right, I think most of you got it. So thankfully, again, Paul, isn't this nice? You have 3x², right? Instead of like 30 or something, you know? So that's good. So we know there's only one way. I'm not even going to write that out. Is that okay? Because there's only one way. How many ways are there to get 3x², guys? 2? Well, really 1, right? 3x and 1. You could have negative 3x and negative x. Again, you don't have to worry about that for now. For the first number. Okay. Now look at negative 35. Negative 35, there are many factors, right? That you could multiply two integers together to get negative 35. For easiest one is 1, negative 35. Is that right? What else? If I could have that, of course, I could have also negative 1, positive 35. What else could I have? Does 2 go in? No. Does 3 go in? No. 4? 5? How many times? 5 and? Negative 7, right? 5 and negative. Well, of course, you could have negative 5 and positive 7. And I think that's it, right? Of course, you got to try both ways. So there are actually 8 ways that you should try. So let's try with the first one. 1, negative 35. Does this work? No, that's going to be too big. Look, 3x and negative 35, right? That's way too big, right? Does that make sense? Oh, you guys have the answers already? Okay, let me just show you how I did this systematically, though. Okay, good. All right, so then if I try 1 and negative 35, because I don't want to write it again, can I try negative 1 and positive 35? You see how that easy was? Yeah, I don't have to rewrite it. And it still doesn't work. You see? It's not going to work. So I could get rid of... Can I get rid of them now? Not yet. I haven't tried D. Yeah, I got to try D. Other order pair. So which is... I'm going to choose that. I'm going to always look at the first number here. Oops. And negative 35 and 1. Does that look good? No, that doesn't look good at all. What about positive 35 and negative 1? No. Now I am finally ready to cross them out. None of them work. You see what I'm talking about? Okay. So I'm hoping that the other one will work. Let's try 5 and negative 7. Does this work? You know, you gotta do this. Here we go. What's 3 times negative 7? That's kind of too big, right? Yeah, that's not gonna work, is it? So should I try this one? Still, that's too big, right? 3 times 7. What's 3 times 7? 21. There's no way you're gonna get 21 and 5. Actually, no, it's not gonna work. So we should then try definitely the other one, which is since we did 5, negative 7 right here, right? We should try now the other order, which is 7 and negative 7 and 5. Does this work? This is it doesn't work, but it's really close, right? What's 3x times 5? 15x minus 7x. Isn't that positive 8x? So but we know how to fix that one. How do you make it so that it becomes negative 8x? Well, if you change this to positive and then that's negative, that works, doesn't it? So we found it. William, did you have a question?
When you're factoring 35, can't you just write the plus negative sign?
For these ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could. Sometimes you could just write, yeah, but I just want to be able to show you all the possible ways. But if, like I said, as you get better at these, yeah, you could kind of do these other ways. You know, kind of take some shortcuts and stuff. But I just wanted to show you. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's online, the homework. Don't worry about it. So, was I done with this? Okay, let's look at then. Oh, we gotta write the answer. What's the answer? Who haven't I? Jamin, what's my answer? Yeah. Pretty straightforward?
Yes.
Alright, let's look at example 4. The example 4, I'm going to have you try this one. Everybody try 2m squared plus 3m plus 5. Go ahead, everybody try this example 4. I like this one. Kind of makes you think a little bit. Okay, go ahead. How many people think that they have the right way of factoring? How many people were able to factor? No one was able to factor? You were able to factor? Sort of? What do you mean by sort of? What did you get?
What is the answer?
Yeah.
Oh, prime.
Oh, you got prime? Oh, is this prime?
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, actually this is a prime. So how do you know this is prime though? Because it's really, it's hard to figure out something is a prime. Why? Because you have to try every possible ways, okay? So let's see let's just see that if it is, because On the test, a lot of times people don't even try everything and they write prime and get it wrong. You see what I mean? So let me show you how to do this correctly. So first of all, we know only way to get 2m squared is there's only one way, right? 2m and what? M. Okay. And then we got 5. There's of course 1, 5, 5, 1. Are there any others? Oh, 1, 5 and negative 1, 5. So negative 1, negative 5. Are there any other ways for 5? Are there any other ways to get 5? No?
No.
So let's try 1, 5. Okay? By the way, do I ever need to try negative 1, negative 5? Do I ever need to try that one? Why not? Why is it that I don't have to try? Yeah. Yeah, the middle term is positive, right? Right? If they're both negative, is there any way for that to come out to be positive? No, so we don't even try that one. Okay, so 1, 5, does this work? No. Okay, am I done then? It's gotta be prime, right? No, but I gotta try the 5, 1. There you go. Does this work? When I do this, I get 2m and then 5m. No, it doesn't work. Well, what if I do this? What if I make this one negative? Doesn't that work? I get, so how many people? No, it doesn't? Why not? Don't I get 3m? Look, I get 5m and 2m minus 2m. It doesn't work? I can't do that? Why not? You're right, why not? Why can I not? Leah?
Because that would make x equals to -5.
That's right. When I do this, I get -5 here, you see? So that wasn't even one of our choice anyway. You can't just, you know what I mean? You can't just use one. I just figure. So yeah, you're right. You can't use that. Cannot use that one. So it turns out this is what, guys? Prime polynomial. Okay. Okay, any question? So sometimes you get this, but you won't get too many of these, okay, on the test or something, because this is the hardest problem really. If you think about it, because you gotta try every possible way. Okay. All right, so let's look at example 5. Example 5. I'm going to put a little star on this one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, don't be scared. It's just it's something that you're sure. By the way, before I do example 5, let me ask you this. Like, if I have -3, is there a way to rewrite this -3 as -1 times something? What's that? It's -1 times? Oh, you know how to do that, right? You don't know how to do this, right? Okay, good. Example 5, 22 plus 5p minus 3p squared. Okay? First of all, write this down. 22 plus 5p minus 33p squared. This one looks different than the other ones. Why? Raise your hand if you're thinking, why does it? Yes, sir.
Because the squared number is negative.
Yeah, not only that, it's just written in the way that we're used to. You should always write this as a what? Must what? Right? The polynomial as what? As what kind of form? What sort of form do we want this? Is this in the form that we like? No. What do we have to rewrite this in? Who remembers the name? Yeah. Standard form. We want the quadratic term to be first and so forth. And Eric's right. There's a problem because when I do that, what do I get when I write this as a standard form? What's this as a standard form, guys? Yeah.
-3p squared.
-3p squared
Plus 5p.
Plus 5p.
Plus 22.
And Eric, you're right. How come this one is not so good either? Yeah, the coefficient of the quadratic term is negative. And we haven't really done with that one being negative, right? And it can get kind of confusing when it's negative, because there are many different ways. But there's a way to kind of fix this. Anybody see what I could do? Hint, look at what I wrote down. -3 is really -1 times 3, right? So is there a way to rewrite this so that you don't have to deal with this negative coefficient? 1, 2. People see it? No one else? Viviana. Times all by, well, if you have an equation, you can multiply both sides by -1. But we don't have an equation. We only have an expression, right? Do we multiply -3 by -1? No, what do? We just factor out a -1, right? So when you have